How are you doing, everybody? I'm happy today that we are doing something different. We are doing a book review of a book published in 1992, and this book was written by a guy from Spain called Paulo Coelho. The book is called The Alchemist. It was transferred into English by Aaron L. Clark. Try to find this book. You can use different applications. You can use Light Reader. You can use any books. You can use any application you know that is used for readers. Even if you're not good at reading, try and find this book and read it, because it is going to transform your life. It is going to change the way you think. It is going to help you change your environment. It is going to help you learn very many things you did not know about life and about your life. Without wasting time, like I told you, the book was written by a guy from Spain called Paulo Coelho. I'm not going to say everything that is in this book, but I'm going to try and simplify a lot of things. And in this review, I hope you get the most out of it, so that when you read the book after or before, you can read the book after watching the review, you can read the book before watching the review. It depends on what you want to get out of this book. The book is The Alchemist. Paulo Coelho, a guy from Spain. It was published in 1992, and it was translated into English by Aaron L. Clark. I'm going on the first page of this book. I'm reading the first paragraph. The boy's name was Santiago. Dusk was falling as the boy arrived with his herd at an abandoned church. The long roof had fallen in long ago, and an enormous sycamore had grown on the spot where the sacristy had once stood. Paulo is trying to show us a life of a shepherd, a young boy looking after his sheep. We don't know where he got his sheep, whether it's inheritance. We shall learn later in this book. We are looking at the life of a simple person, like everyone else, a humble life. A shepherd has nothing except his herd. So we are looking at a simple boy from a certain village who decided to look after sheep. And shepherds of long ago used to travel from place to place looking after their sheep. A lot of hardships were faced, a lot of adversities were faced, as you know, the life of shepherds. And something we can learn from the life of shepherds is that these guys were patient. They used to nurture sheep from childhood to adulthood. To reach a point of shearing the wool from the sheep. So we are going to look at the life of this boy called Santiago, and we shall be calling him the boy more and more. Let us go to the next page. We are going to page 3. His parents wanted him to become a priest, and thereby a source of pride for a simple farm family. He studied Latin, Spanish, and theology. But ever since he had been a child, he wanted to travel. One afternoon, on a visit to his family, he had summoned up enough courage to tell his father that he did not want to become a priest. He wanted to travel. Now in this paragraph, we look at the difference of what we want from what our parents want. Most of the times, our dreams are not the dreams of our parents. Our parents want us to become something else so that they can look at us with pride. They can look at us proudly. And yet, deep into our hearts, we want to become something else. This is a lesson both to us and to our parents. I'm speaking to parents first. Try to learn what your children want to be. And I think you should accept it. Because most of the times, it is easier for someone to become what you want to be than to become what you want them to become. I'm going to page 4. The people who come here have a lot of money to spend, so they can afford to travel, his father said. Amongst us, the only ones who travel are shepherds. Well, then I'll be a shepherd, the boy replied. His father said no more. The next day, he gave his son a pouch that held 3 ancient Spanish gold coins. You can imagine. Here in Africa, I'm going to use the example of Africa. Most of the times, you cannot become what you want. Most of the people that become what they want face a lot of challenges, mostly from family, because your father has something else he's seeing in you, or your mother, or your guardian, or your elder brothers and sisters. And most of the times, they don't believe in what you believe in. They believe in what they want you to be. But look at Santiago's father. Santiago's father wanted him to become a priest. But after learning that his son did not want to become a priest, that his son wanted to travel, he immediately stopped talking about priesthood. In fact, he got money that he had saved and wanted to give his son as inheritance and gave it to him. You want to travel? You want to become a shepherd? So be it. Go. I wish all parents were like that. I wish parents could learn to think about what we want before what they want. I'm going to page 7. It's a book that says the same thing. Almost other books in the world, continued the old man. It describes people's inability to choose their own destinies, and it ends up saying that everyone believes the greatest lie. What's the world's greatest lie? The boy asked. It's this, that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us and our lives and become controlled by fate. That's the world's greatest lie. To cut the long story short, when this boy became a shepherd, he had a dream under the sycamore tree that we started with, where he was resting with his herd. And in this dream, he was supposed to travel to Egypt to find his treasure. He first of all neglected the dream, but after some time, he was seated in a market somewhere. He was a boy who loved reading. He used to travel with his sheep and a book. And when he read the book and finished it, he used to trade the book for another book. So one day he was seated in a marketplace resting and reading his book. And then an old man approached him and asked and borrowed his book. So after reading through, the old man told him, this is a good book, but it tells the same thing like other books do. It tells of the world's greatest lie. And the boy asked him, what is the world's greatest lie? The old man replied, like we've heard, that at a certain point in our lives, we are talking about the world's greatest lie now, that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of our lives, and then we face in the direction of fate. You have to understand there's no such thing as fate. You create your own fate. I've always told you that you create your own destiny. Always. Paulo is a witness. The boy continued that's never happened to me. They wanted me to be a priest. I decided to become a shepherd. You can imagine such a level of freedom in a young mind. The boy has already decided at a tender age to become what he wants to be. He's not following anybody. He's not following anybody's advice. He knows what he wants to be. He knows where he has to go to achieve what he wants to be. He wants to travel. His father told him in the first place, you don't have enough money. How will you travel? Maybe if you become a shepherd. And the boy said, well, let me become a shepherd. Because I want to travel, I'm going to do whatever it takes to travel. The boy was not prepared to become a shepherd. But because he wanted to travel, and this was the only means for him to travel, because he had no money, he was not going to become an explorer or a tourist, because he could not accommodate such. He said, let me buy a herd of sheep and travel with my sheep. We are going to page 10. The old man returned the book to the boy and said, tomorrow at the same time, bring me 1/10 of your flock, and I will tell you how to find the hidden treasure. Good afternoon. Now, most of the times in our lives, Paulo talking about the treasure right now, he's not talking about the treasure we read in fantasies, in adventure books. No, he's talking about the treasure of your dream. Your dream is your treasure. How do you achieve your dream? And by telling this boy, bring me 1/10 of your flock, Paulo is teaching us a very important lesson, that to achieve your dream, you have to pay the price. The boy paid the price with 1/10 of his flock. We pay the price in different ways, in facing adversity, in overcoming challenges, in believing in what we want, in taking the path less traveled by. Page 22. You dream about your sheep and the pyramids, but you're different from me because you want to realize your dream. I just want to dream about Mecca. I've already imagined 1,000 times crossing the desert, arriving at the plaza of the sacred stone. Then 7 times I walk around it before allowing myself to touch it. I've already imagined the people who would be at my side and those in front of me, and the conversations and prayers we would share. But I'm afraid that it would all be a disappointment, so I prefer just to dream about it. The boy managed to cross over to Africa. Before reaching Egypt, he worked with a certain Arab who sold crystal. He transformed the life of this Arab, brought more luck in his business because of his enthusiasm, brought more creativity, attracted many customers. And so one evening, he sat with this Arab, the owner of the crystal shop that was on top of the mountain of the hill. He sat with this Arab, and they talked about a lot of things. He has not yet reached to the pyramids where he's going to discover his treasure. He is still on the road. He worked, the book says he worked with this Arab for more than a year, or almost to a year. So during this whole time, he has not yet reached the treasure, but he's on the way to the treasure. We go through a lot of things to reach the treasure. The treasure, I've already told you, are our dreams. We go through a lot to realize our dreams. So on this page, Paulo teaches us another great lesson. The boy is in pursuit of his dreams. He's now talking to a man who is afraid of realizing his dream. The guy says, I'm afraid that it would all be a disappointment. So I prefer just to dream about it. There are people who know what they want, but are afraid to follow their hearts to realize their dreams. They prefer to just stay in the back and continue dreaming. And when you continue dreaming and fail to take the first step, you reach a point in time and start believing that your dream is impossible to achieve. I'm going to pop to page 41. To cut the long story short, the boy left the crystal store and traveled to Egypt. Now in the desert, he met a girl called Fatima. He fell in love with this girl. So after falling in love with this girl, he was confused. He wanted to stay with Fatima and abandon the treasure. This is what Fatima told the boy. You've told me about your dreams, about the old king and your treasure, and you've told me about omens. So now I fear nothing, because it was the omens that brought you to me, and I am part of your dream, a part of your destiny, as you call it. That's why I want you to continue towards your goal. The dunes are changed by the wind, but the desert never changes. That's the way it will be with our love for each other. If I'm really a part of your dream, you'll have to come back to me. Most of the times, this is the lesson to women and to us as men. We all fall in love. That is part of life. Most of the times, when we fall in love with someone, we become, what should I call it? We become jealous. What should I call this? Okay, when we fall in love with someone, you feel you should keep the person for yourself. And most of the times, it is here that people abandon their dreams. It is here that you settle for less. It is here that you decide to take the main road. You say, now what is it? What do I want? I have a wife, I have children. What did I want to be? I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to be what? It's okay. I wanted to be a great businessman. It's okay. Let me settle for average. At least I have someone I love. But Fatima, this is a lesson to women. Fatima told his man, no, you don't have to stay here because you found me. No, you have to go. You have to find your treasure. And if you love me the way you tell me, the way you feel, if you feel about me the way I feel about you, you will come back to me. This is homework. What do you learn from Fatima? Epilogue. This is the end of the book. The boy reached the small abandoned church just as night was falling. The sycamore was still there in the sacristy, and the stars could still be seen through the half-destroyed roof. He remembered the time he had been there with his sheep. It had been a peaceful night, except for the dream. Now, he wasn't here with his flock, but his shovel. This is the end of the book. It has all gone back to where it started. We started this book. Santiago was resting under a sycamore in an old church, and in the sacristy, a big sycamore tree had grown. Today, he's back at this abandoned church with no sheep, but with a shovel. What has he come to do? He traveled to Egypt and did not find his treasure. His treasure is back home. This is also a great lesson that most of the times we travel, we go through life, we go through different adversities, trying to chase our dreams, trying to change our lives. But sometimes, for some people, what you want is just in front of you. But you have to go through all you have to go through, because those are lessons that are helping you to live life the right way. If this boy had not gone to Egypt, if he had discovered his treasure that day under the sycamore tree, maybe he would have bought more sheep. Maybe he would not have met the alchemist. Maybe he would not have met Fatima. Maybe he would not have learned the language of the world. What do we learn from this? Even if your treasure is in front of you, you're not going to find it today. You have to take lessons. You have to pay the price. And when you finally find your treasure, when you finally realize your dream, you will know it has been worth it. The end will justify the means. Thank you so much. The book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, a guy from Spain. It was published in 1992. It was translated into English by Aaron R. Clark. Look for the book, read the book. You're not going to regret. Thank you so much. God bless you. For God and my country.